Good evening, gamers. Welcome to another episode of the What I'm Playing Now podcast. We are on episode 32. My name is Joe, and I am the host of the show. Send us some emails. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know if there's anything that you would like us to chat about, or let us know what you're playing now. You can send those emails to whati'mplayingnow@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at whati'mplayingnow. Don't forget to drop the G. Twitter does have a letter limitation, which kind of sucked when I made that account, but hey, it works. Google Plus, you can follow us on our Google Plus page, which is plus.google.com/, the plus sign, What I'm Playing Now podcast. And then, of course, we have our Twitch TV channel, which is twitch.tv/, What I'm Playing Now. I actually have a studio update for this week, which we probably haven't had in several episodes. So on episode 32, I finally got a friend to actually draw up a logo for the show. It actually looks pretty cool. I'm actually pretty stoked about it. I'm going to start putting it on the podcast. I'm going to start backfilling it to the old podcast so I can get all that stuff hooked up over to iTunes already. And something I've been wanting to do now for a couple of months, and I've just been kind of putting it off because I really haven't had a good designer or anything that I've been able to come up with. So I was really stoked when I started to get some pictures sent in to me, and his name's Glenn. Can't thank him enough for doing that. Really appreciate it. So everybody should be expecting a logo for us soon. Also, my wife has finally decided to start working on my green screen. So hopefully the white screen behind me will change into a green screen, and maybe during the show I can actually put the logo behind me while we're actually broadcasting. So we'll see when we start playing around with the green screen. We'll see what we can all do with it and how fancy we can actually get with it. So I definitely want to start using it during the Twitch streams, but I'd like to maybe even use it to put, like I said, to put the logo maybe behind me during the podcast here. So we'll see how fancy we can get. We'll see what my computer can and can't do, and we'll just play around a little bit and see what we can figure out and learn. I got a bunch of news stories this week. I didn't think I was going to have this many news stories. I also have some things that I played for the week. Couple of things that were from last week. I've continued playing. Couple of new things, so we're going to just tease that a little bit, and we will get to those shortly, and then of course we'll end the episode with what I want to play. And I actually have a couple of pretty good things that I want to play that I've actually heard from some other people and read about and seen some videos on. So when we get to that, there's another tease. But let's jump into some of these news stories. I think some of the news stories may go kind of fast for us. Other ones we may chat about for a little bit. But one of the first ones that I had to talk about, especially since we're doing the Way Back Wednesday, and I've been playing Ultima 1 now for the past couple of weeks, and expect me to continue that on Wednesday. We can talk more about that under the What I'm Playing Now part of the show. But there's a new Underworld game that's actually in the works. Otherside Entertainment is actually a company that is being founded by Paul Neurath, who actually was one of the original developers from the Underworld developer Looking Glass Studios. They also did Thief and System Shock per this GameSpot article. So they're actually going to be bringing back the Ultima Underworld series. It sounds like there's quite a few developers that have worked on either the Ultima series before or other RPGs. So this group is actually quite knowledgeable with the whole genre. They actually have been playing a lot of the recent ones. They kind of know where the genre has headed since it's been about 20 years since the last Ultima was actually released. So they kind of know what's changed in that genre over the past 20 years. They kind of know what type of room they have left to play with, and I think they have some creative ideas that they're going to be coming up with that'll hopefully challenge us and really get us back into this series. That's actually a really, really good series. I have not played the Underworld games yet. I will be getting to those after playing through the Ultima games. We'll see how long it takes me to get through Ultima 1. I'm hoping it doesn't take me that long to actually get through that one. But we'll see. But I'm really looking forward to the new Underworld game. The Underworld game is going to be called Underworld Ascension. They have no set release date for this. They're actually pretty much just in the beginning phases of the whole development process. I think they just pretty much kind of announced everything a couple of weeks ago, so they're just trying to pull, I think, everything together. and we'll see what comes out of that. I'm sure we'll be talking about this more in the future. Um, over the next several months and probably the next year or so, however long it takes them to get everything pulled together. Next story that we have here was from Polygon. It was an article about 38 Studios, and I will preface this by saying I'm not a lawyer. I don't know any of this crap, but since we talked about this originally, I really haven't talked about the whole 38 Studio settlement or what's all going on with that thing for quite a while now. It actually does sound like there may be some monies changed hands. I guess there's going to be a settlement that's going to provide the RICC, which is formerly known as the Rhode Island Economic Development Corporation, probably about a 4.37 million payout. There's a couple $100,000 going to individual defendant legal fees, 430 defense costs, and I guess there was like a $5 million insurance policy that some of this money looks like it's possibly coming from. So they may be getting some money from that. I guess the initial loan was 75 million, so still might just a tad short. 4 million, 4 or 5 million, 75 million. I guess what's 70 million amongst friends. But it sounds like this story is still ongoing. They closed up in 2012, so this has been probably about 2 years now that this story has pretty much been ongoing. I have a feeling this isn't going to be the end of it, but we'll just have to wait and see. I just wanted to throw that story in there since we have covered it in the past. I said we'd probably talk about it in the future. So I've seen a couple of stories written about it recently, and I really kind of just skimmed over them and skipped them because I really didn't have much to say about it. But just wanted to throw that in there for the week. So we're jumping on to the next story, which is from a GameSpot article. Your PlayStation 4 DualShock 4 controller is now compatible wirelessly with your PlayStation 3. I guess you could use the DualShock 4 via a USB cable with your PS3 originally, but now you can actually use it through Bluetooth. I guess you can pair it up, but it doesn't sound like it has all the functionality that you would probably hope that it would have. I guess it doesn't have vibration. I guess in the GameSpot article here it says, unfortunately, the PlayStation button, vibration, and 6-axis tilt control still do not work. But you can turn on the PS3 with the DualShock 4's PS button, which was not possible before. So I guess if you want to use your PS4 controller DualShock with your PS3, go for it. Truthfully, I'm still having better luck probably with my PS3 controllers, the DualShock 3s, than the DualShock 4s because neither of my DualShock 3s are falling apart like one of my DualShock 4s is. And I think I talked about that last week for those of you that watched last week's episode. So if you want to use your DualShock 4 with your PS3, go for it. You can do it wirelessly now. Next gaming article that we are going to get into is from a Polygon article, The Binding of Isaac, Rebirth. This is a game that's been in development, I think, since about 2012 is when it was first revealed. I've talked about this game in the past. I think I've talked about it during the What I'm Playing Now section of the podcast. I picked this up off of Steam a while ago. I haven't played it in a couple of weeks. It's a good little rogue-type game. It can get really crazy and hectic at times when you're playing through the game. Some of the boss mobs are just really, really fucking insane and over the top. And it sounds like this game is going to be pushing your wits and all of your gaming prowess to its limits because there's going to be over 450 items in the game, 50 new enemies, 15 new bosses. They're introducing this double trouble boss fights that's going to force players to fight the two previous chapter bosses at once per this article. The original game only featured 150 rooms. The new one's going to have over 500. So yeah, that's more than 3 times the size, and it sounds like it's going to be quite a doozy when it's finally released. I haven't seen a release date for this yet, so we'll have to watch out for that. But I think that one's going to be a pretty good game when that one comes out. Our next article is from GameSpot, and this one just really, really made me laugh when I started reading about it, and I actually heard about it, and I think I saw it on Twitter first is where I heard about this story. And I watched the GameSpot video where they were talking about this. It'll be in my show notes and the links and everything like that. You can watch that. But actress Lindsay Lohan is actually suing Rockstar Games for saying that her likeness is in Grand Theft Auto 5. I guess there's a character in Grand Theft Auto 5, and I will preface this by saying I have not played Grand Theft Auto 5 yet. I've been waiting for it to come out on the PS4. So when that does come out, I believe later on in this year, that is probably when I will be picking up Grand Theft Auto 5. Hopefully, Grand Theft Auto 5 will impress me a little bit more than what Watch Dogs has. Um, Even though Grand Theft Auto 5 is going to be well over a year old at that time. Don't get me wrong, Watch Dogs is a good game. I was just hoping for a little bit more about that. We were talking about that at work today, but I think I've already said my piece on that game. Still a good game. If you haven't played it, pick it up and play it. But let's get back to this article here. Yeah, she's suing them, I guess, for a very good sum of money. I mean, especially since, GTA 5, which launched in September 2013, basically generated over $1 billion in revenue in just the first 72 hours. It's gone on and shipped 33 million copies on Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, with it coming to Xbox One, PS4, and PC this fall. I can just imagine that number is probably just going to grow because there were people like me who were basically waiting for the PS4 to come out and really didn't want to pick it up on the last gen systems. I knew that they would eventually be coming out with a higher res, better looking game on the next gen consoles, or I guess we could say current gen consoles now, since it has been over 6 months that those consoles have been out. But I'm kind of looking forward to GTA 5 and playing it on the PS4, and we'll just have to wait and see if Lindsay Lohan actually gets any money out of this. Lacey Jonas, I can't wait to see this character in the game. I guess there's a couple of quests that you're going to do where you have to help this character escape paparazzi, take her to a hotel that resembles some place where maybe Lindsay Lohan might have lived at one time. So we'll see what happens. And I think I had heard about this originally back at the end of last year, but nothing really came up about it up until last week, when her lawyers actually submitted the lawsuit, which is kind of crazy considering that was back in December, and the lawsuit's just getting underway now. I'm not too sure what the slowness of that is. Who knows? I don't really follow Lindsay Lohan much anymore. Probably anybody watching this might not either. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens and comes out of that. Good luck to Rockstar, and hopefully they can come out of this pretty much unscathed. If you're a developer, our next article is from a Polygon article, and you ordered an Oculus Rift. The Oculus Rift DK2 will be shipping to you starting the week of July 14th. They're starting to ship some of them out. It sounds like they're actually a little bit behind in their shipments in their manufacturing facility. So some people that were supposed to get some in July may actually be pushed out to August. It sounds like they had over 50,000 or 40,000 people who had pre-ordered this. I thought I saw 100,000 in one article. I guess the development kits were selling for $350, and it definitely looks like the display and the unit that covers your eyes is is a little bit smaller and a little bit more refined than what the original development kit was. They still haven't really announced anything for the consumer-based product on this yet, so we're going to have to wait and see what they're going to do for a consumer-based product. But hopefully they're going to get to one soon, because I know Sony's really touting their build of their VR headset. I think it's called Morpheus. I think is what their in-house name for it right now is. So we'll see which one comes to market first and which one's going to be a little bit better of a product. So last week we talked about EA, and we talked about Dungeon Keeper. And this week I found another article from GameSpot where they were actually talking about EA's having to change one of their ads over in the UK. I guess the UK has an advertising standards authority, the ASA, that actually basically polices ads. And EA had basically said that the game Dungeon Keeper is a free-to-play game, and I guess a lot of people really complained about that because of the time limits that were imposed on the game, and we've discussed this on several past episodes, so I don't want to go into this too in depth since we've already discussed this. But it sounds like a lot of people were complaining that basically the free-to-play model is almost impossible um, because of the time limitations that they were put on there. The ASA basically looked at it. They kind of agreed with what the people were saying and told EA that they have to change the ad and they can't say it's a free game anymore. And they basically have to say and state that um, that there's time limitations that could be added, that the more you play the game, those time limitations could be longer than they were at the beginning. So I think it's really good that this this board actually reviewed this and actually stated this. But here's my little tip to EA. Let's just drop the whole paywall thing and just make the game free to play and do right by all of your customers. Especially all the people who were really looking forward to playing the Dungeon Keeper game and seeing it brought back in a mobile form. Um, just do right by everybody and just make the whole thing free. I think that would probably be one of the best things that EA could do right now, and it would definitely make me give them a thumbs up in my eyes. I mean, I would be very impressed if they did that. I'm not expecting them to, but I will just throw that out there that they could use that little tip of advice. Um, I'm sure somebody within the company has had to tell some of the managers and some of the other leaders of that company that the same thing that I just stated. But let's hope some people are listening, and we'll see what comes out of that. Maybe Dungeon Keeper will actually be able to enjoy the game here maybe soon. So our next story is from Polygon, and I've read several articles about this. Really haven't been paying too much attention to it since I have one, but I guess the PlayStation Vita is extremely hard to get recently, especially with the release of the Borderland PS2 bundle that was released back in May here in the U.S. I guess nobody's been able to keep them in stock. If you go out to Amazon, Best Buy, GameStop, all their online stores are pretty much out of stock of this device. I was looking on Amazon earlier. They had one of the original 3G games out there that had basically the 3G and Wi-Fi built into it, which I'm pretty much sure nobody wants to pay the $400 price tag that I think I saw on it, especially when you can get, I think, the PS2 bundle, the Borderland PS2 bundle for around $250. I think is what it's selling for currently right now. And it's the slimmed down one, so that's nice. But it sounds like all of a sudden there has been some demand for the Vita, so that's actually a very good thing. I'm pretty happy with my Vita. I still play it every now and then. I'm not playing it daily anymore like I was when I first got it. I just haven't had the time with so many of the other games that I've been trying to play. I need to download some of the free games, I think, for the month from the PlayStation Plus. I've downloaded the PS4 and the PS3 ones. I haven't downloaded the ones for the Vita yet. So I'm going to have to get to that here in the next couple of days and just throw those on there. But if you're looking for a Vita, Sony says that they're working on getting more shipped into the channel, and hopefully they will have some available for everybody to purchase. And they won't be so hard to get. It's crazy that a device that is basically in its second iteration is actually this hard to come by right now. I wouldn't think that it would be, but maybe people have just really started wanting to play the Vita or use it with their PS4s. So we'll have to wait and see what happens and when everybody will be able to get one. But people will be able to get something from Cliffy B soon. Cliff Bleszinski's coming out of retirement. Everybody's writing about this. I grabbed an article from GameSpot. So Cliffy B left Epic Games back in 2012, I guess after being with them for 20 years. He's actually starting a brand new company, which I was following the other day on Twitter. I guess there's a countdown clock that's saying that something will be announced 9 a.m. Pacific, Tuesday, July 8th, so that will be tomorrow. So I'm just kind of really looking forward to seeing what he actually has come up with and what he's going to be doing. He really hasn't given too much information about anything. It's been kind of gray as to what he's actually going to do. Pretty much the only thing he said, it sounds like he's getting back with one of the guys he did Jazz Jackrabbit with. They're actually getting back together. The name of the company is Boss Key, and you can find them at I think it's bosskey.com. is where I was able to find their website. So he's also at BossKey on Twitter, so follow him on Twitter. He's already got quite a few followers. I know I followed him when he only had when BossKey only had maybe about 300 to 400 followers. He's up to over 8,200 now, and they've only basically put out 3 tweets right now. And his first tweet was back on June 20th, and it just said soon. And then several days ago, a couple of the people figured out what this account was. They started following him. I jumped on, and it just increased from there, it seemed. So his last tweet was 4 hours ago, and it just said news tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we are going to have to wait and see what Cliffy B has to say and what he's going to be releasing. I'm hoping it's a shooter. I'm hoping it's something great, something that's maybe going to redefine and just change and just knock everybody on their asses like Gears of War did. Gears of War was an outstanding game that he put out. I can't wait to see what he does right now. Crap, I wouldn't even mind maybe going working for him down there. That would be probably fun as hell. Be something really cool to do. So if you're interested in Dota 2, we talked about Dota 2 last week in the International with I think this is actually pretty cool. They're actually going to be having a newcomers broadcast feed that newcomers to Dota 2 will be able to actually follow, and they'll be explaining a lot of the different concepts in Dota 2 during the game and giving some information to players. I know last year when I was watching some of the Dota 2 stuff, my wife sat there and watched a couple of the games with me, and I was pretty much having to explain everything to her. I would have, had they had a newcomers broadcast stream last year, I would have just threw this on so she could have paid attention to that, and I wouldn't have mind listening to it as well. Even though I played the game some and I do understand it, I would have thrown that on for her just so I wouldn't have to sit there and maybe try to keep pausing it and explaining to her what's going on and some of the different things, as they could probably do a much better job of explaining it than I could. But yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to some of these international tournaments that are going to be coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So I'll definitely be watching those. I'll probably be throwing it on the newcomers feed because I'm sure my wife will probably be sitting down there while I'm watching a couple, and I'm sure she won't remember a damn thing I told her about the game last year. So looking forward to that. If you're a Minecraft player and you actually have Minecraft on mobile, the Pocket Edition is coming out Thursday, July 10th with version 0.9.0. This is going to be the biggest mobile update, I guess, that the game has. And it's going to bring it closer to the PC counterpart. It's going to be adding infinite worlds, caves, a lot of new blocks, monster eggs, mushroom blocks, wolf pets, new mobs, biomes, hills, and much, much more. You can go out to Mojang's website and actually see what all the dev notes are there for. I have the Pocket Edition. I picked up the Pocket Edition during one of the Google Plus sales, and it's kind of funny. From the GameSpot article that I have here, it almost seems like the Pocket Edition probably has sold more than the PC and the Xbox Edition. The 360 Edition it sold 21 million copies, they said, and I just wonder how many of these were purchased during the Google sales, because I think normally the game is like $6.99 on the Google Play Store, or even on the Amazon App Store you can buy, because I think I've seen it on there. You can play it on the Kindle Fire as well, or any of the other Kindles, I'm sure, or any device that you have the Amazon App Store on, because I do have the Amazon App Store installed on my phone as well. I sideloaded it. But from the Google Play Store, I know that they originally, the game cost like $6.99 I think it was, and I think I got it on sale either for a dime, like 10 cents the one year, when Google Play was having one of their real early sales, or like a quarter the one time. I can't remember which sale it was. Throughout the year, sometimes Google will have those sales, almost like a mini Steam sale. Amazon gives away the app of the day, and actually, I think a week or two ago, Amazon gave away like 30 games, and, well, I don't want to say 30 games, 30 apps, because there was more than just games that they had that were available for download. Some of them were actually $9 and $10 apps, so on the Amazon App Store. So I'm going to actually be updating the Pocket Edition, and maybe I'll start screwing around with that again. I really haven't played around with it too much. Gosh, probably in well over a year, so I don't even know if I've even tried it on my new phone, the HTC One. Well, and I've had this phone probably for close to over a year now, because I have the M7 model. So, but maybe I'll throw this on there and actually play around with it for a little bit and see what all happens. I haven't been playing Minecraft much lately, but it's still a good game and I still enjoy it. So one of the last things was a news story from yesterday on Polygon. There's a Twitter account. It's at You Are Carrying. If you follow at You Are Carrying, and then if you send them a tweet, and if in your tweet you put the word inventory, they will tweet you back, and it will basically be an inventory of items from classic text adventure Infocom games. Games like the Zork series, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and Planetfall. These are all games that are back from my childhood, if you want to say childhood, because I was probably a teenager during that time. Let's just say it was back in the day when text adventures were rather popular. And it was something that you played before graphics really were popular and came about. The Infocom series of games are some classic games, but this is something that's pretty cool. I guess he has kind of like a database of all the Infocom classics, and you can just get this stuff tweeted to you. So I think it's pretty cool. I actually tweeted at them earlier. They tweeted me back within a minute or so, and it was just pretty cool to see some of the different items that showed up in my inventory. So if you're kind of looking for something screwy to goof around with on Twitter, follow at You Are Carrying. Do a quick inventory and see what you have. I'll post what got tweeted to me up on the site, and we'll just let everybody see. So that's it for the news stories. Like I said, I had quite a few news stories, and wow, that took a lot of time to get through. I didn't expect it to get that long. We'll jump into the what I'm playing now part of the show, and what I'm playing now is a lot of what I played last week. I continued the Ultima 1 feed on Wednesday, and we actually got further in the game. I was able to actually complete a quest. We actually had a couple more levels under our belt. I was able to buy a crap load of hit points and get thousands and thousands of hit points finally, to where I actually went down a couple levels deep into a dungeon, and we're fighting some different things. Sometimes getting out of a dungeon, though, can be kind of hairy because the mobs can just randomly spawn and just start killing you. So with those 1,000 hit points, I didn't want to stay down there until I got down into the low numbers. I started, pulling that ripcord and breaking out of that dungeon as soon as I kind of felt like things were just, maybe going the monster's way and not my way. But it was pretty cool actually finishing my first quest in the game. I'm going to be doing another feed, another Twitch stream on Wednesday, so we'll continue that stream. One of the other things I streamed over the weekend, on Saturday I did a quick stream. I didn't get to do as long of a stream as I wanted, but I actually did start a banished stream, and that's pretty much the game I've been playing. I'd say a majority for this past week is Banished. I had started playing it last week just to try to get a feel for it before I started playing my a stream, doing a stream on Twitch for it, and kind of once I started to get a little further in my settlement, I didn't really want to stop it, and I wanted to keep it going to see how far I could do with it. But then finally on Saturday, I just sat back and was like, okay, I have a decent idea of what I'm doing with the game. I actually started with a medium-sized map. I started off with medium settings, so no houses were built. I actually had to build everything. So that was kind of different because I think when I started my original game, I think I threw it down to easy, just because I hadn't played a game like that in a little while. I wanted to get my feet wet. I wanted to learn some of the different things, get an idea of where to put things and where not to put things. I had made a few mistakes early on in that first original settlement that I think I had rectified in some of the later years that I was playing. So when I started the stream for my actual real playthrough, I set the bar a little higher for myself, since I had actually dabbled with it now for the past week, and I kind of knew where to put things and where not to put things. And so far I only ran out of food almost once. I bumped up a bunch of my laborers to start collecting food and things like that, so hopefully I can get a fishing area put down soon and get some more additional food brought in that way. But I'm really liking that game. I may actually play some of that tonight, before I call it a night. I don't know if I'll stream it. I may just play my little offline game here, my easy game. But I'll try to maybe do a longer stream this coming Saturday. Oh, actually, you know what? I won't be able to do it this Saturday. Maybe I'll do it on Sunday because I will not be around this Saturday. So look for another Sunday stream. And because that was when I did last week's stream. So Saturday stream may turn into a Sunday stream. We'll see. I'm going to be flexible with the Saturday and Sunday streams. I continued playing a little bit of the RBI Baseball 14. I'm having a whole hell of a lot of trouble getting into this game. I've looked through some of the reviews. It doesn't seem like the scores are real high, and I can kind of see why. it has some of the nostalgia feel to it, but it just doesn't have that nostalgia feel, that full nostalgia feel, and some of the play mechanics and everything just aren't grabbing me, and it's just I'm just not having a whole hell of a lot of fun with the game. I don't want to turn on assisted outfielding, but it seems just letting regular outfielding go, I'm just not really enjoying the game a lot with. So I'm going to give it maybe a couple more playthroughs to see how much further I can get with it. But so far, I'd say before I'd purchase RBI Baseball 14, I would definitely say to try it if you can at a friend's house. I don't know if they have a demo out for it or not on the PS3, but definitely play through the demo and see if you can get into the game at all. And play through the demo a couple of times and just don't let something shiny and new make you purchase that one, because I'm almost kind of regretting the $20 purchase on that, because I don't think I'm going to get $20 worth out of that gameplay right now, which kind of bums me out, considering how much I was really looking forward to that game. And that kind of really sucks, and I hate sometimes putting games up on pedestals like that and being and kind of wanting a game so bad and just having such high hopes for it, and then when you get it, you're just kind of let down a little bit. And it could just be the hype that I had for the game within myself that maybe is kind of has me bummed out about it. But I'm going to give it a little bit more of a shot and maybe try to play some multiplayer with it and see how that goes, because I've just been playing the computer AI so far. So we'll see how that goes. The other game I played for the week, my wife and I sat down and I actually picked up the Adventure Time Card Wars game. So I ran down to our local game store the other day. They have a Thursday night game night, which I'm probably going to start maybe going down there to play some different board games with. I picked up the Card Wars game that I picked up their last box of starters, the one starter deck they had, the Finn and Jake deck. Sat down, started going through some of the cards, and then started doing a quick search on the internet, because I noticed that it seemed like the cards should have been separated into a blue deck and a yellow deck, but it seems like cards were just mixed matched everywhere. So I guess I had one of the early decks that were originally shipped from the manufacturer, where they had a printing error at the printers and cards were just pretty much mixed all together. So they actually had a card list out there. I had to sit down for about 10-15 minutes, sort out all the cards, which really wasn't a big problem. The one thing I was kind of bummed out about, and I'm going to send actually Cryptozoic a message on an email on and ask them if there's anything that they could do. I did have two cards that when I unwrapped them, they were in the middle of the deck and they almost looked like they had water damage done to them, which is completely crazy, because the box was sealed in plastic, the decks were sealed in plastic, and I had no water around me at the time. And when I pulled them out of the deck, I could actually see that one card was actually wrinkled a little right along the middle, and it kind of does stick out. So you can almost tell what card that was if you knew what card it was. My wife and I don't really cheat that way, because neither of us are really that competitive when it comes to the card games like that. But it's actually a fun little game. It's a lane combat type game. Right now, since each of us just has the starter decks, we're just playing single color decks. It sounds like you can play and have multicolored decks if you want to. We'll definitely have to get the other starter deck to be able to do this, because you need I guess I would call them land cards that are kind of put down for your lane. But it's just it's a fairly simple just a card combat type game. I kept wanting to relay everything back to Magic when I was trying to explain it to my wife, and then finally I was like, you know what, this really isn't like Magic, because Magic just doesn't have the lanes. It's just you're given two actions each turn, where you can either play cards, or draw a card, or floop a card. So it was just a much simpler type of card combat game that I was really excited to actually play in. We actually had a pretty good time with it. We'll definitely be going back to that game. I'll probably be picking up the other deck, starter deck, if I can find it somewhere around the area, or maybe I'll just have to order it off of Amazon. Probably pick up a couple of maybe booster packs too. So that was about it. That's it for the What I'm Playing Now episode. Let's jump onto the What I Want to Play Now. And there's actually a couple of things I want to play now. I saw a video this week for Sid Meier's Civilization Beyond Earth game. This game looks pretty sweet. I'll make sure I put a link to a GameSpot article where they were actually talking about a new gameplay video that was released this past week, and they were talking about pre-order bonuses that were revealed, and I guess the release date on this is going to be October 24th. I know I have several friends that are going to be picking this game up. I'm going to have to see what's coming out around October, because I may definitely be picking this up very early on, because I think playing multiplayer on this would be pretty much the shit. The graphics look really good. I'm really liking what the gameplay looks like right now. This is basically the spiritual successor to Alpha Centauri. So I think I played Alpha Centauri back in the day a little bit. I never got into it too much. I was more of a straight Civ fan and played several of those games. But this game, I'm just kind of looking forward to something like this, and I think this will be a lot of fun, especially if you have a group of people that you can play with, and maybe get some good multiplayer games going on. I think that'll be a lot of fun, and can't really wait for that one. One of the other things I picked up at the game store when I was there, besides that Adventure Time Card Wars game, I talked about wanting to play the Pathfinder role-playing game. So I actually picked up the Pathfinder Core Rulebook, which is something that I've been kind of wanting to get back into, a nice pen and paper type game. I've been playing MMOs for years. I'm kind of just burnt out on playing them. I mean, I play ESO every now and then and still going back to it. I'm not really playing it enough to where I feel I want to talk about it too much on the show right now, since I talked about it so much when I was leveling up through level 50. Maybe once I get into some of the higher veteran ranks, if I make it that far, I'll talk about it a little bit more, but I am still playing that game some. But I'm kind of just in the mood to go back to an old school pen and paper type game, like what I used to play, back in the day. In college, we used to do that some. So Pathfinder seems like it's a pretty good one. And talking to a bunch of the different people, it seems like Pathfinder is based off of like the 3.5 D&D rule set. Some people are even referring to Pathfinder as like 3.75 D&D. So I know that a lot of things have probably changed in the game. From when I played back in my advanced D&D days, because I still have all my advanced D&D books in the other room in a bookcase. So I'm going to see if I can go down. I was talking to the owner of the shop, and he was saying that there's a couple of different society games that meet. There's one that meets on Monday. There's one that meets on Thursday, I think, and then he said there's one that meets monthly. I don't know if I have the time to devote to a weekly game, so I think the monthly one, if they're actually allowing new people to come in, I'm going to try to jump into that one. So I'm hoping that they actually have a seat available that I'll be able to maybe hop into, and I need to find out when that is. So I'll be finding out more about that on Thursday when I head back for a board game night to play some board games. So next week I should actually have some brand new board games to discuss, which will be pretty cool. And that's one thing I'm going to try to start incorporating more into the news, is maybe some more of the board game news. I'm probably going to maybe pull some information maybe from Board Game Geeks. That's one of the really good websites I go to. I follow their podcasts and listen to those guys all the time. So we will be getting more into that. And one of the other games that I want to play is Divinity Original Sin. I have a couple of friends that picked up this game when it came out last week. All the buzz that I've been hearing about this thing on a lot of the different gaming websites, it sounds like this is one of the biggest sellers for Larian Studios, which is actually pretty cool, that they actually have a really good game on their hands. Everybody's saying that this is going back to the kind of like the turn-based strategy type role-playing games. It looks like it's a really good type game. I watched a couple of video playthroughs on some of the different things and some of the different mechanics in it. It looks outstanding. The graphics look really sharp. It sounds like there's a lot to this game, a lot more than what I've been able to see in a lot of the videos. So that's something I originally want to play. I think I've mentioned before, I think in one of the last Steam sales I picked up some of the earlier Divinity games. I want to give those a shot before actually jumping into the Original Sin, to the newer one. So that will definitely be on my horizon coming up here soon. So that's it. That's it for what I want to play now, and that is it for another episode. Send us some emails. Let me know how we're doing. Let me know if there's anything you'd like to hear. If there's anybody I can interview, send me an email. The email is whatimplay.now@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter. I usually tweet out before I do the podcast and before I do some streams out to Twitch at whatimplay.now. Don't forget to drop the G, like I always say. Follow us on our Google Plus page, plus.google.com, the slash sign, and then the plus sign. What I'm Playing Now podcast, and then of course we have our Twitch.tv channel, which is twitch.tv/What I'm Playing Now. Watch out for Wednesday when I'll be doing a more Ultima stream. That will be starting between probably 8 and 9 o'clock. Depends on what I have going on at work and what time I can get home and get everything all situated and organized around here. But I've been trying to play maybe for about an hour or so or until about I want to throw the keyboard. But the past couple of weeks, I think only the first week was the week I really wanted to throw my keyboard at the monitor for that game. The past 2 weeks have actually been kind of fun, and I actually feel like I've been getting something accomplished with it. So we'll see if we can take the game maybe a little bit further, get a couple more quests done, finish some things up, and maybe move on to another one, or maybe we'll move on to one of the Divinity games on our next for our next Wednesday playthrough. But I definitely want to finish Ultima 1 first. So since I'm only playing about an hour at a time, that may take me a couple more weeks to do. So keep watching for that. Send us some emails, like I said. Just let us know what you're playing now. Have a good week, everybody. We'll catch you later.